evening to all of you. Can you say to the person beside you, I may not be perfect, but I can become better and better by the grace of God. One more thing, can you say to the person beside you, you are God's masterpiece of grace in the making. And God is not finished with you yet. Okay? You know, as men, our biggest struggle in life is how to face failure. And whether we admit it or not, we do experience failure, from the smaller ones, sometimes to the big and major ones, like a failure in marriage or a failure in your particular work. Okay? How many of you have experienced a major failure in your life? Can you raise your hands, please? Okay. Look around you. That means you're not alone. Okay? You know, as men, because we were designed to be primarily performance-oriented beings, our greatest struggle really is to experience failure. And we fail because, number one, we're not perfect. We fail, number two, because the world around us is not perfect. And thirdly, we fail because we recognize that there are attitudes in our lives that sometimes contribute to our failures. Tonight, we're going to take a look at one of those attitudes as we look at the topic, failing forward, growing through failure. Okay? Okay, first of all, can we read this together? It is not failure that hurts us, it is our attitude towards it. Okay? So sometimes we think, the bad thing is that I failed. And either we give up or we allow ourselves to be so discouraged that we begin to make the wrong decisions in our life. And sometimes as men, that happens to us, right? Sometimes in the midst of failure, we are led to make certain decisions that sometimes can be regrettable. And that's why we need to understand it's not really failure that hurts us, rather our attitude towards it that really hurts us, okay? The main difference between people who achieve and those who do not is how they respond to and handle failure. We are all aware that the most successful men in the world are men who have failed more than the others, and therefore were able to learn more. That's why they were able to move forward ahead of their generation. Okay? You will discover tonight that failure is one of life's greatest mentors for success, and we will understand that tonight. We need to experience a level of failure to help us see where we need to improve, who we really are, and what we were meant to become. Okay? That is why it's very important for us to recognize that if we want to ultimately succeed in life, you have to learn how to respond to and handle failure, because it will come. It always comes, okay? A wrong response will be, I'll never do that again. How many of you said that before when you failed? Okay, now look around you, okay? You're not alone again, okay? I'll never do that again, Very embarrassing. It could be potentially life-changing if there's a major failure in your life, and you don't want ever to do that again, okay? Or sometimes you'll say, it's over for me. How many of you said that once? It's over for me. Especially when you face one of the worst failures of a man, which is a marriage failure. Okay? You'll talk more about that. You see, the greatest mistake in the life of a man is not to fail. The greatest mistake is to quit. Okay? So long as you're not quitting, you have every potential to succeed in life. And I repeat that. So long as you're not quitting, you have every potential to succeed in life. Okay? Another thing, can we read this together? You will never know how far you can go until you go far enough. If you give up easily, you won't go far enough. But if you never give up, you keep on trying and trying, learning from your mistakes and moving forward, do it over again and again and again, you'll soon find out how far you can go. Okay? Can you say to the person beside you, do you know how far you can go? That's important to know, okay? Because you have to discover what potentials God put into you, and those potentials will never shine out until you're willing to go far enough. Okay? Somebody said the law of the stretch. You will never know what you're fully capable of doing until you're willing to stretch yourself to the limit. You will never know what you're fully capable of doing until you stretch yourself to the limit. Okay? Lessons from one of history's greatest achievers. You know Thomas Alva Edison, right? What is he known for? Incandescent light bulb. Okay, Thomas Alva Edison was not the one who invented the incandescent light bulb. He was the one who perfected it. There were many scientists who were experimenting with artificial light, and they were looking for the right filament that will burn brighter and longer. But most of the filaments that were, developed during his time burned too short, and the light's not so bright. It was Thomas Alva Edison who perfected the development of electric light bulb. He finally found a filament that burned brighter than all the others and longer. And thanks to Thomas Alva Edison, we now have artificial light in the night. Without him, we won't have this, right? So are we thankful for his perseverance? Okay. He also was the one who developed the phonograph, right? Now we don't have phonographs now. We have CDs, right? But he was the one who invented the phonograph. Another thing, we won't have movie houses today without Thomas Alva Edison, because he was the one who invented the motion picture camera. Thomas Alva Edison had more than 1,000 patented inventions. More than 1,000. He's a genius, okay? He actually started the technological revolution that we know today. And the interesting thing, Thomas Alva Edison succeeded in doing this despite his hearing impairment. While he was a child, he went through scarlet fever, and he had an accident that affected his hearing. By the time he was a teenager, he was almost totally deaf. And so by the time he has been inventing and developing these technological things that brought us to the technological revolution of our days, he was already almost totally deaf. But in spite of the handicap, it did not stop him from becoming one of the world's greatest inventors, right? How many of you have a handicap in your life that you feel is going to limit you from fulfilling your dreams in life? Anybody with handicaps here? Okay, good. Well, this is one man with a handicap. His handicap, he did not allow it to limit what he can do. Okay? It could have made him feel like a failure. If you're totally deaf, what can I do in the world? Well, this almost deaf person contributed so much to modern life that without his perseverance, we would not be where we are. He experienced 1,000 failed experiments before he finally discovered the right filament for the incandescent light bulb. Okay? During his 200th failure, a fellow scientist visited him and asked him, Mr. Edison, you have failed 200 times in this theory of yours of finding a filament that will burn brighter and longer. Aren't you giving up? I mean, you failed 200 times. To that, Thomas Alva Edison gave his famous reply. He said, I do not call that failure. I call that education. I discovered 200 things that do not work. One day, I will discover the one that will work. And according to one of his biographers, he discovered the right filament on the 1,000th experiment. You see, there are many versions of the story of Thomas Alva Edison. But Thomas Alva Edison was also recorded to have said, I did not fail. I just discovered 10,000 things. Okay, we'll see that in a while. Okay? Does that encourage you? 200 failures is not giving up. Why? That's not failure. I call it education. I'm learning a lot of things through these failures. One day I'll discover the one that will work. Okay? Here are some famous words of wisdom from Thomas Alva Edison for those of us struggling with failure. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. There are so many could have changed history. So many could have changed their lives if only they didn't give up. You understand that? Another thing is said, our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. You failed? One more time. Failed again? One more time. Failed again? One more time. Failed again? One more time. 1,000 of those decisions. And finally, he changed the world forever. How many of us men have fallen short of our potential to have changed so many things in this world and even in our lives just because we decided to give up? Okay? Another words of wisdom from Thomas Alva Edison. Just because something doesn't do what you planned it to do doesn't mean it's useless. Because you can learn something from it. Okay? I have not failed. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work. How many times have you failed? Trying to find the one that works, right? Even in marriage, never give up. You know, Albert Einstein who said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Albert Einstein said, that's insanity. So what did he say? Insanity means doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So what is he trying to say? What's he trying to say? If one way doesn't work, change it. Try another way. Doesn't work, try another way. Don't stick just to one method. Be creative in finding new solutions to the problems. Even in your marriage, don't give up. If one way doesn't work, find another way. And one way you could discover other ways is to consult the experts. Attend seminars related to that area of your life where you are failing and learn how to do it better. So long as you're alive, there's always something new to discover. So long as you're not giving up, you will find another way to solve the problem. You understand that? There's not one way in solving the problems in the world. There are many ways. Okay? Another word of wisdom from Thomas Alva Edison. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. One reason why men give up is because they have become lazy. Let me repeat that. One reason why men give up after a series of failures is because they're too lazy to finish the job. Okay? Remember, if you're going to be successful, it means 99% perspiration. You have to work hard. Even in marriage, you have to work hard to make it work. And you need to consult others to help you make it work. Okay? The three great essentials to achieve anything worthwhile are, number one, hard work. Second, stick to evenness. Don't give up. Okay? Third, lots of common sense. Why? Because you better listen to your failures. It's going to teach you a lot of common sense. It's going to teach you what's wrong and where you can improve. Okay? Lots of common sense. This comes from a great achiever who has changed the world forever technologically. Okay? He said, negative results are just what I want. Do you like that? You like negative results? No. But you know, an achiever, one who's committed to change things, negative results are welcome. Why? They're just as valuable to me as positive results. I can never find the thing that does the job best until I find the ones that don't. One approach may work for one, but not for another. You have to explore other ways to make it work. Okay? And one day, if you don't give up, you know, learning from the mistakes, you'll be able to succeed. Okay? He also said, when you have exhausted all possibilities, many of us, and you know, when I counsel men who's having problems in their marriage, especially men who are, you know, committing infidelity, they always say, you know, Pastor, I tried everything in my marriage. I tried everything. It didn't work. Well, listen to what Thomas Edison will say to you. When you have exhausted all possibilities, remember this, you haven't. And I always tell this man, You can never say you've tried everything because you're not yet succeeding. Because if you tried everything, now you should be succeeding.
Amen.
Did you get that? If you really tried everything possible, you should be successful by now. Because you'll surely find the right path to make it work. But if you say, oh, I tried everything, it never worked, that means you haven't tried everything yet. Every problem already has a solution in God's mind. There is no problem on earth that cannot be solved. Because every problem is a challenge for you to discover the potentials that God has given you to overcome the challenge. Okay? So can you say to the person beside you, you can never say, you've tried everything possible if you're still not successful. Because if you did, you would be successful now. Okay, remember that principle. Okay? You know, failure is one of life's, in fact, to me, the best mentor for success. Let me share this with you. Failure is one of life's major mentors towards success. It acts as a mirror. How many of you look in the mirror every morning when you comb your hair? Okay. You should be sure, because when you go out, others will be your mirror and they may not like what they see in you. Okay? Failure acts as a mirror to show us where we need to improve to ensure real success later on. How many of you are afraid to look at a mirror? Especially when you know you have a lot of blemishes on your face. You look ugly. But how can you remove the blemishes until you see where they are? You need a mirror. And I tell you, the best mirror in life are your failures. They show you who you really are. They show you areas in your life where you need to improve. Okay? They act as a mirror to show us where we need to improve to ensure real success later on. Every failure invites you to take a deeper look at yourself. The problem with us men, we're always scared to look deeper into ourselves because we're scared of what we will find. Right? You begin to find, oh, I'm so weak in this area. Oh, I'm not competent in this area. I am a failure in this area. We're so afraid. How many of you don't like to consult doctors when you feel sick? You ask yourself, why? I know people who don't want to go to any doctor even though they already have all the symptoms of an illness because they're scared to know what's wrong in your body. I may have cancer. I don't want to know I have cancer, you know. Because if I know what my problem is, the more I'll not enjoy life. So these people say, I don't have to consult doctors. If I die, I die. But maybe if you consult a doctor, you may live longer. Okay? We're afraid to see the truth about ourselves. And I tell you, as men, that's why we often are dishonest and we're often in denial. Because when people begin to corner us, and people say something that we know is true about us, it's very difficult to admit it, right? Because the greatest challenge for a man is to face the truth about himself. And many men chicken out when it comes to facing that biggest challenge in their life. To admit that we're wrong, to admit that we have areas of failure, to admit that I'm the one who needs to change. Right? We're scared of that. And that is why every failure is designed to help you take a deeper look at yourself. And it takes a lot of courage to do that. Okay? To enable you to see the blemishes you need to deal with in the journey of becoming a better person. You know, every failure can make you bitter. Bitter about yourself, bitter about others, or even bitter about God. Right? Why? Because you are afraid to take a deeper look at yourself and discover you're the one who's wrong. Not God, not others, but you're the one in the wrong. And I tell you, it takes a real man to face his own failures. It takes a real man to be responsible for his mistakes. Okay? That's where our manhood is tested.